Hi, everyone. Welcome to this informational session about the Masters of Public Administration program with UOnline. I am your host, Rayanna Campbell, the student advocate for this program and one of the many resources that will be available to you throughout your time as a student. We have a lot of great information prepared for you today and some panelists that are joining me, and I'm going to be able to introduce them, but we're going to take a little bit more time for folks to trickle in. Just a few moments. All right. It looks like everyone who has signed up has joined us. So I'll go ahead and move forward. The session will be recorded, so you'll be able to get that. So again, like I said, my name is Rihanna Campbell. I serve as a student advocate, which essentially means that I'm helping you pretty much stay on track with being able to graduate, being able to get your course materials, understand what's expected of you. Some of you may be looking at going back to school after a while of not going to school, so I'm also there to support in those ways. Beyond that, though, just wanted to cover some housekeeping items for this session. So it'll be about 45 minutes in length. Again, like I said, recording will be available with all of the information that we will be sharing. And then if you have any questions that pop up throughout the course of this info session, feel free to use that Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen, and we will get to your question either by typing it out, by answering live, or also connecting you with an enrollment advisor. If for some reason you have questions after the session that either did not get answered or you're looking for more clarity on in your specific situation, call this number. It'll be available at the end of the PowerPoint as well, and we'll get you connected with an enrollment advisor and have your questions answered. All right. So just kind of looking at the program overview, it's 12 courses. It takes about 2 years to complete. So if you're looking at entering this spring, then your expected graduation date would be fall 2026, pending you don't take any breaks. This program is SACCOC accredited, and then you're taking one course at a time, especially because a lot of our students are working professionals. They're in the field, they're all over the nation. And so that flexibility really allows you to be successful and to hone in and soak up the information. Do note the GRE is waived for eligible applicants. So we're not necessarily looking for that. And it is grounded in practice. We do believe that, again, public administration is changing, our world is changing. So our courses and our faculty are making sure that we update that information so that you learn that as a professional. So I wanted to introduce our panelists and have them talk a little bit about their connection to the program and their roles, starting with Dr. Curley.
Hi, everybody. My name is Callie Curley. Dr. C is what my students usually call me. I currently serve as the Director of Graduate Studies for our department in the political science space, which means for you, effectively, I'm one of your many touch points to kind of think big picture about the program and what we're doing and where we're going. My sort of research space is in environmental policy and sustainability, public health and equity. And I'm a public policy and implementation person. So that's kind of a little bit about me. I'll just say really quickly, welcome. We're excited to have you here. And it's really quite the exciting time to get involved in the online MPA program because we're going to be going through some really neat revisions and being supported by the university. So it's a great time to start this journey.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Curley. All right. Marquita, what about you? Tell us about your background, how many years you've been out the program since you recently graduated. Congrats. Tell us about yourself.
My name is Marquita, like she stated. I actually just completed the program this summer. So I made it. I did the entire 2 years back to back with no break. So I'm very excited to be done. I work currently as a program coordinator for the Seminole County Sheriff's Office. So I handle all of the court systems. So this was a great stepping stone for me to continue to move up and rank in my agency. So yeah, I'm excited and it was a great journey.
All right. Kicking things off to Roxana.
Hi guys, good evening. I've been out of the program. I'm about I want to say about a year now. I feel like time goes by so quickly. But despite no matter, and I think the reason why time goes by so quickly is although it's been a while being out, this UM has been there for me throughout this whole time. So I like to say they've been like a second family to me, and it's super appreciative, and I'm super happy to be here to share my experiences because at this time, I'm the victim services program specialist at the Office of the Attorney General. But throughout the program, back to back, I've worked in law enforcement, nonprofit, the public sector. I've worked a little bit of everywhere, but it's just because of the tools and the confidence that has provided to me. So I'm excited to be here and to share as much as I can about the journey.
Thank you, Roxana. And then last but not least, William.
Hi, everybody. My name is William. I graduated the program from Miami last year with Roxana. Roxana and I graduated together in August of last year. I am currently a departmental technician for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. During my time with the program, I was an assistance payments worker, which processes SNAP benefits, Medicaid, state emergency relief for our state of Michigan public. And now, as a departmental technician, or commonly known as IT, I am solely responsible for our district as far as maintaining our technology, equipment, and application security. One of the things that I enjoyed from the program was just being able to interact with so many people and use my tools. Working in government already myself, it was almost second nature. A lot of the things I learned and I was able to enhance on in my career. And I'm currently in the progress right now of getting a new promotion as a policy analyst. That was the main reason I came to Miami to pursue my master's in public administration. My ultimate dream and goal is to be a policy writer, either at the state level or federal level. So I currently am in the process of interviewing for a policy analyst position for the state right now, and I could not have done it without the help, love, and support of my University of Miami.
All right, awesome, guys. So, Dr. Curley, I'm going to start with you. We had some of our students talk about just how important it is to the work that we're doing in public administration to build community. How do you interact with your students and build a sense of community despite the online platform?
That's a great question. Thank you. Um, every faculty member does something just a little bit different, but a lot of the classes are grounded within discussion sections. Some faculty have been playing around with new technologies that they either currently are integrating into classes or plan to integrate into classes, which allow for more direct engagement with materials in smaller groups with students. And so you might see new tools that are emerging in like the AI space. And it provides us this opportunity to kind of dig into different readings while tagging and flagging material. The discussions are great. Some faculty will hold sort of like happy hours almost in the very beginning of the class session or at the very end of the class session that are optional for students to attend. It really is dependent upon the faculty member in the class, but we as a sort of new and growing faculty have really prioritized community through the online program and through the redevelopment of the courses.
Amazing. And then, William, just following up with your comment, how did you go about actually meeting other students in the program?
Actually, I honestly I reached out. That's the be I completely honest with you, and some those discussions and students from all different walks of life, working in government, working in nonprofit. It really was helpful in those discussion posts, finding similarities and even finding differences. And that was one of the things that I enjoyed more so was speaking to those students who had real different viewpoints of mine. And in those moments, I was able to create study groups and have different type of resources amongst my peers, myself, Roxana, and Richard, another gentleman who graduated from University of Miami with us. We all grew together in our discussion posts, and we created our own study group, and we studied all through our classes in our last stretch in Miami. So that camaraderie in those discussion posts were really essential to me as far as meeting students, getting to know students, and getting a chance to interact and really seeing the different understandings of government and nonprofit and just everything that public administration covers was truly fascinating.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, Marquita, tell me about some of the classes that stood out for you. That whether you find yourself applying the material, whether something interesting that you learned, were there any classes that stood out to you or highlights that you found in the program?
I know the ethics really at the time that I took it, it came at a time where we were implementing new policies in our agency. So it just kind of brought everything into play for me. So that was really big because I got different aspects and different viewpoints when, like William said, in discussions, it's like we were able to really I was able to get different viewpoints and but go back and forth and really like view everything in a whole all together and put it in like different scenarios how I can take it back to work. So it was helpful.
Got it. Now, Dr. Curley, we find that in nonprofits, you don't necessarily need a master's to do the work. However, how do you find that the MPA actually sets students apart in the different fields that they would go into for public administration as a whole?
Tools. It's the key word right there is just tools. You know, the MPA program, particularly the online program, focuses so much on what is a real world experience that has happened to you and how can you leverage what you're learning in these academic environments, right, that we normally don't apply to these concepts, the real world, right? And so the fundamental goal here in an MPA program is taking that academic stuff that we read and maybe we don't think applies and really fundamentally focusing on how does that influence me in my daily role at work. And that might be your daily work in already a nonprofit, or it could be your daily work as a student or as a parent or as a caregiver or whatever your role is. The cool thing about public administration is we're talking about concepts like ethics, like leadership. We're talking about concepts like productivity, right? And all of these different topics are applicable not just in a nonprofit or a local sort of space, but also to the things that we do on a regular sort of daily basis too. So
Got it. Got it. Now, Roxana, how do you know that it was time for you to pursue an MPA and why Miami?
You know, it's funny. I actually, when I was 17, I actually visited like UM at the time, and I thought, oh, you know, there's like this. It was a beautiful campus at the time, and at the time, I chickened out. I was like, this is not the right time, you know. And but then years later, it was kind of funny how, despite going somewhere else to pursue my bachelor's degree, within the 6 years, I like to say I kept seeing signs, right? I kept saying the like sticker, and I feel like kind of haunted me from my past as I was 17. But I think that what ultimately made me decide, okay, it's time, is that kind of like what Marquita was saying that earlier about wanting to kind of step up in the ranks, right? And at the time, I was at the Pasco County Sheriff's Office, and I was a victim advocate, and I kept seeing how our sergeants and lieutenants was going back to school for their masters, and what they were learning. And so I was like, that's what I want to keep learning. I want to do that. And they were fantastic leaders and role models that to this day I still admire them for. And so, but in particular, I've always loved Miami. And I can tell you this, although it's online, and I was not in Miami, it was such a bummer that I would open my door in Pasco County and I'd be like, oh, I'm in Pasco, I'm not in Miami, because of how closeness everything felt. But Miami in particular, in particular, I should say, it's just the flexibility is unmatched compared to everywhere else. And I can definitely say that, yes, there's other master programs at different schools, and people find what fits best, but the curriculum, it was like what Dr. Curley said, you have your experiences and they're so open to it. But even from the admission process, I'll never forget Miss Paula Nixon when she emailed me back my essay and was like, hey, like, make sure you're at this, make sure you tweak this. And that in itself was so special for me, because I realized at that moment that doesn't care about just the number. They don't care about the number of people that are applying. They care about me as a person, what I bring to the table. And at that moment, I was like, this is it. And despite how busy it may be, this handling whatever hats we may be wearing at that time, I it is if you feel like it is time and you have that inkling, just do it. Just do it, because the support that you will receive from this school is amazing, and you feel it, genuinely feel it.
I concur.
Speaking of wearing those many hats, Marquita, how did you make being a working professional, a mom, all the things work with being a student?
So I'm not going to tell you guys a lie. So when I first started, I think I did not truly think of all of those aspects. I kind of just was like going in like, this is going to be just like my bachelor's. It's not. I will not sell that lie, but it is doable. Once I got into my first class and realized, okay, I got the shock. But once then I was like, okay, well, now you need a game plan. You're in this thing, right? I don't quit. So I'm just like, okay, so now I need a plan. So it was communicating with family. I had to get my village. So like, hey guys, but I also set a schedule. That was the highlight of getting through this entire program, is having a schedule and not procrastinating. So staying on top of my assignments, getting them done on time, because one thing I did made sure I wanted and I stood on was making sure Sundays was for my family, for my kids, that they have all of me and nothing else. Like I'm not, because I work so much and I'm working when I'm home. So it was like Sundays, that's family day. So me having my schedule, me making sure my village was there to support me. I had a village, not I know understanding everybody, they don't, but I was thankful to have that. So me having my village, but sticking to a plan, having a plan, executing it, and making sure I just don't slip, staying on top of my assignments. That's how I got through. And I was able to do that the entire 2 years. Sundays were always with my family. So I got through.
Yeah. And Marquita, that's one of my favorite light bulb moments that students have, is like coming from undergrad and having potentially more hats to wear. They find, wow, I'm not performing the same way. What do I need to do to pivot to be able to not necessarily make school my center, but make it work into the larger quote unquote pie that I am. And so seeing that happen, being able to integrate school into their lives is just such a beautiful thing. And I'm glad that you were able to share that. And I like that story for sure. So taking it back to Dr. C, what do you find are the greatest strengths in faculty that you work alongside and that our wonderful panelists have gotten the opportunity to know?
What a perfect question to ask, because as Marquita was talking, I really wanted to jump in and just say one of the things that I'm extremely proud of with the faculty that we've cultivated is that they all value student well-being and mental health. I can't echo that sentiment enough, right? We have, over the last few years, hired new faculty. And as part of the hiring process, we ask them questions. And we've gotten to see them now in action in the classroom. And I can tell you that I have never been more impressed by a group of faculty balancing academic rigor with the sort of student-led compassion that this group of faculty have. Like, we are all humans, and I can't echo that sentiment enough, right? Like, I'm director of this program, I direct another program, I'm a faculty member, a researcher, a parent, and a PTO president, right? Like, the amount of hats that we wear is absurd in our lifetime. And to then add school on top of that is not something that we should take lightly or think is going to be an easy transition. But every single one of our faculty stands up and says, hey, I see you're struggling right now. What do you need to be successful? Let's meet and talk about it. And we've built in the revamped curriculum that's going through the revision process right now, more flexibility into the sort of 2-year, 7-week program, anticipating that some students may need to say, hey, life's kind of nuts right now. I need a pause, right? And that's the thing that I'm most proud of our faculty about. And I can speak on that for hours, but I'm going to stop myself now.
No, and again, you all make really great points about with the many hats that you're wearing when you're online, you don't necessarily have to uproot your roles to fit a geographic space. We just got a question in the Q&A from Margaret about, is this completely online? It is 100% online. You do not have to be in Miami. And again, one of the benefits to that is if you're working in an organization across the state or your children are going to school across the state, you don't necessarily have to move them to go to school, or you don't have to be away from them, which is amazing. Now, back to you, William. Tell me about a way that you've grown since being in the program.
Oh, goodness. Just similar to what Dr. Curley said, this is something I can go on for hours. I can admit to you in full confidence, when I started in this program, I was a person who did not. I'm sorry. I think my camera messed up there. There we go. I was not a person who was able to be confident in a lot of the things I did as far as speaking, as far as being a team leader, being someone in leadership. And that was one of the many things that I enjoyed about our time here in Miami. I enjoyed the fact that I grew as far as in the leadership role through my classes. And one of the classes, as an example, was Dr. Marcia Beck in the organizational dynamics. We had a group project. We struggled a little bit, and I was voted by our team to speak to Dr. Beck about our struggles, and she told me then, William, thank you for coming to me, and you don't have to come off the bench. You could be a starter. You could be the leader. You could be the team captain, and that's what it takes a lot of times. Sometimes we're shy, we're closed in, we want to come off the bench, but Miami helped bring that starter, that captain, that leader out of me. And it's grown, and I've seen it grow within my workplace. Is just taking initiative on different projects and different obstacles instead of just waiting for someone to give me a shot. Just that encouragement and that leadership and just that extra oomph that Dr. Beck and Dr. Curley and so many others gave me was truly inspiring.
Amazing.
Can I add something?
Yes, go
If
ahead.
you guys are a terrible writer, you will come out of this program excelling. I just want to say I write so many like important agency documents, and I've noticed the difference because you have professors that really care, and I got so much feedback and I loved it. And I'm just like, hey, I didn't think about that. Okay, I can change this, change that. Because sometimes I would turn it in, I had a schedule to keep, so I would turn mine in before Saturday. So I had that time for them to kick it back and say, okay, tweak this a little bit. And I enjoyed it because now I would like to say, I'm a pretty decent writer.
That's amazing to
Yeah.
hear. Now, Roxana, William and Marquita both shared with us challenges that they overcame in the program. Did you encounter any challenges, and then how did you go about overcoming them?
Yeah, I did. I think that like anything, life happens, right? Like what Dr. C said, and I could definitely say, especially working very, very closely with William, I've seen his growth. And I'm not gonna get emotional, but as his friend, to see how where he started in the program and where he is now and seeing that confidence that I was like, yeah, William, that's what I'm talking about. It's like night and day. And the thing is that what the beautiful thing is that all the professors see that within us. That's why we were accepted this program. And it's just a matter of empowering us to let it out. And for me personally, I was going through something like professionally. I was going through something professionally, and it was very rough. It was rough trying to navigate through everything. And and I will say this, Dr. Curley, I will never forget when I ended up leaving my job and I was so devastated. And I remember meeting with her and I'm crying my eyes out. And because but she provided that safe space for me to do that. And it was kind of like a reset button to kind of continue on. And but during the progression, I did find myself slipping. I did see myself just kind of, doing self-sabotaging behaviors, to be honest, in my academics. And I have a very special place for Dr. Marsha Beck, because she noticed. And although it's online, you think that, oh, they won't know. No. They notice everything. And that's the nice thing, that compared to like in person, right? Where you can go to a classroom and you have so many students and so many things going on, but because it's a little smaller, more personalized, it's just a little bit of that, like that one-on-one time. And but she noticed, and she noticed. And each week that I met with her in her office hours, it just encouraged me. It allowed me to have my voice back, allowed me to really kick me out of the depression I was in and kick me back and reminded me, oh snap, like I'm Roxana, and it to the point where, again, like the confidence came back. And just thinking so small before, of sometimes you hear so many different voices externally saying, oh well, you go to or this is too hard, are you sure you want to do this, you have so many things on your plate, so many voices outside. But these lovely professors have a way of just, again, reminding you of your goals, reminding you of who you are. And it's just so needed. And because of that, I remember telling Dr. Beck, I said, oh, I'm thinking about doing the commencement speaker. That's how much confidence I had. I was like, I think I can do that. She's like, I think you can do that, Roxana. And she was with me every step of the process. And I remember when I was privileged to be the commencement speaker, and I remember standing there, it was so overwhelming because I knew, and I remembered where in the beginning, I had all these different struggles and different obstacles. And what led me to this moment, other than the big man upstairs and my family, my village, as Marquita said, was the support of these lovely professors, and even when I thought, okay, well, I was ready to settle to any job in my career, wherever, but I said, Dr. Beck, I'm like, I've been thinking about going to the Office of the Attorney General, but they're probably wanting maybe someone who has a lot of experience. And she reminded me, she said, no, Roxana, you can do this. You have the skills and everything that you learn in this program. Applied. I used that for my interview. And the fact that I said was like a big shining point, just throwing it out there.
It is.
It is, yeah. They're like, UM? I'm like, yes, UM. But, but having all of that and that confidence, the tools, the confidence, all of that, allowed me to be in this position that I am today, where it's not only I might not be doing the direct service anymore, but now training the service providers to do the groundwork. So it's a big blessing. It's been a journey, but I wouldn't change it any other way. And again, you can go to any other school. They're great, I guess. But again, what they have here, the professors, you won't find that anywhere. And I do mean that, because if it wasn't for that support, the village within here, and even leaving, again, it's been a year, and the professors still keep in touch with you. They still care, they don't forget about you. And the Alumni Association, they'll hunt you down. And it's great though, because again, it's that sense of community, that sense of family, that sense of no matter where I go, whether and I moved around everywhere in Florida at this point, Pasco, Orlando, Miami, you name it, but they've always followed me. And so I'm very, very blessed. And that's my little nugget.
Absolutely. So, full circle back to you, Dr. Curley. How have you seen your students grow throughout the program, whether that be academically, mentally, job-wise? How have you seen that growth unfold?
It's funny because while Roxana was talking, I kind of thought to myself, it's so different from an in-person program, right? I'll have students for 16 weeks in an in-person program, and you'd think, oh, you probably get to know your students who are in person better than your online students, but actually that's not the case. The 7-week compressed timeline means that on a daily or every other day basis, I am seeing something that you're turning in. You don't have the opportunity to talk to me in a big class of 20, 30, 100 students, but you're emailing me. So your name comes into my inbox a lot more than it otherwise would if you had an in-person class, right? These opportunities to kind of see your students and their work within a shorter time span, but more frequently, gives you an opportunity to get to know them. And then because of the way that we ask our questions in the curriculum and ask about your experiences managing, to apply the concepts that you're learning, it also gives us insight into who you are and what you do and sort of where you come from and what you're capable of, right? And not just that, but what you don't realize you're capable of, we're able to kind of tease out and push y'all on. And that's sort of a beautiful thing that you don't really get in the sort of in-person experience. Now, that's not to say don't do in person. It's just to say there is a different type of value in the online environment that really allows us to kind of get a pulse on our students and a read on them. Now, you've seen 3 great examples today. There are others from what I understand online too, right? We have our spotlight up. Okay. So there's opportunities to kind of dig into some of the other histories of students. You can always reach out to me or somebody else, and we can connect you with a student if they're willing to talk about their past experiences, to see where they're going and what they're up to. There's tons of stuff they've done. I don't have a list in front of me, otherwise I would rattle them off.
No worries.
It's that
No way.
7:30 mom brain, you know, it doesn't go much past 6. So
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. And then just wanted to hear from each of our alumni about just summarizing why this program, why should people choose MPA?
I'll go first. I know now that I'm through the program, to be honest, I'm so glad I did it. I still remember struggling in stats and how Dr. Connolly, she was like, tomorrow, video. Okay. And she took the time, and I'm talking about I was not still not getting. She was so patient. I will never forget sitting in my bed. I'm just like, I'm so glad I have you because I left that video call with so much understanding. And I'm just like, she was always, this is week to week, and this is not the only one that took out the time to help me and to make me better. Like all of the professors are so helpful. They're so nice. Like Dr. C said, you can seriously you communicate with them in emails. It's like so much communication that you end up building a relationship. So then when you do need help, it's almost like they just call or just do this. And I was just like, it feels like you're in a physical class, like you have that relationship. So I mean, I wouldn't choose no other program. Is it.
William.
So it's a little bit unique for me. Living in Michigan, growing up around Michigan State, U of M, I always had a special place in my heart for Miami, mainly because of football. And when I applied for the master's program, one of the first, the professor that did the introduction in our orientation was the late great Dr. West. Unfortunately, he passed away, I believe, at the end of 2021. And when I tell you Dr. West, Dr. Conley, Dr. Curley, Dr. Beck, they all just made me feel at home. This did not feel like a college institution, university, whatever terminology. This felt very homey. This felt like a place where I'm coming to obtain something, but at the same time, I'm enjoying it because I'm enjoying meeting the people. I've made great friends and great relationships with Roxana and Richard and Ronald Forbes and so many other alumni that I've met and professors that I've met that I keep in contact with because of that one-on-one interaction, because of that homey, close feel. And one of the things I can say is, to anyone out there who's listening, don't get discouraged because it's Miami. I know a lot of people see Miami and they see the big brand, the big U, and just like a lot of big schools, they get intimidated or they get discouraged Miami is to me, being a homebody person, Miami felt like home. And I live in Michigan and I would not trade in my 2 years, my time, my relationships, the hard work, the laughs, the cries. I would not trade in none of it for my time at UM. It was truly what I needed. It was on time. And as I stated earlier, it brought something out of me as far as leadership capability. And I'm forever grateful for UM for that.
Last but not least, Roxana, bring us home.
Kind of picking back, what everyone said, community. There's just a wonderful sense of community here. You're constantly feeling supported. The empowerment is unmatched, and the flexibility, no matter what hats you're wearing at the time, the multiple hats you're wearing at the time, just to have the one class every 7 weeks. It's nice and it's doable, especially when they give you that syllabus right early in the day and early in the beginning. But again, the support from, like what everyone said, the support from the professors is just so unique in its own way. And again, you can go to any other school and I bet they're nice and whatnot, but this, like what William said, it's community, it's home, it's something that, again, you come out such a different person and you're like, oh snap, like I didn't realize I can do X, Y, and Z. And to find something like that is so rare. It's so rare. It's so rare. So, you know, I highly encourage it. I highly encourage it. Because this is special. It's a very special place. Where again, it's not, they don't just see you as, okay, all right, another student, okay, bye. It's they see you as you and what you bring to the table, and creating a very safe place where they want you, no matter what your background is, they want to know all of it. Just throw it out there. And it's just wonderful. I can't say enough of it.
Awesome. Now I want to get to our last two Q&A questions. First, Dr. Curley, how big are your classes online typically?
So the largest online class that I've had is around 22 students. So they're sometimes a little bit smaller, but I've not had one that has been larger than 22 students, maybe 23, but around there. A lot of the faculty will put students into groups for different projects, and so you might interact with a smaller subset, but that 22 students, unless some of them are graduating, is essentially cohorted. So all 22 of you will take every single class together as you transition over time. So while 22 may seem maybe a little bit large, it actually feels quite small because those are students that you're going to be with for potentially 2 years, right? And so you get to know a lot about each other, especially with the way we design our discussion questions as you apply different concepts within the PA, public administration space to your experiences. And it does form a very unique relationship. So I don't know, they're not that big, they're not that small, they're kind of the perfect fit.
Awesome. And then as far as the courses per semester, again, you're taking two, but you're taking one at a time. So let's say, for example, you are in your fall semester, you'll take a 7-week course, and then you'll have about a week break. You'll take another 7-week course and then have about a 2-week break, and then the next semester will start. Okay. All right. Just want to close us out with some acknowledgments about just some next steps and resources. So again, as we mentioned, one of the best assets of this program is the community, but we know that your help and support as a student does not start and stop with just us. So there are also resources available to you as a student, including the Topple Career Center for resume help. We have an online library, accessibility services, and again, if you are looking to build community outside of your cohort members, there's also the Graduate Student Association. And then we had questions about what you need to apply. So we're going to need your transcript. To get an admission decision, we only need your unofficial transcript. And then once you are admitted, we will need a copy of your official transcript. You need 2 letters of recommendation from professors or people who can speak to your work and your experience, your resume. If you're looking to use any kind of financial aid, loans, etc., you will need to fill out a FAFSA. We will need a personal statement. Again, Roxana talked about just kind of some of the things that can be included about your journey, and then an actual online application. Okay, so we do have an admission deadline coming up. It is going to be Monday, November 4th for that early deadline. Again, our cohort spots are limited, so we want to make sure that you take advantage of that deadline. Because this program is so special and we want you guys to be able to come here, we are offering a $300 deposit waiver and up to a 50% tuition waiver. We had a question about finances as well, including financial aid, but we want you to be able to speak to your enrollment advisor. That way you are able to talk about your individual circumstances, what is best for you, etc. You can scan this QR code because we are running out of time. Scan this QR code, it sends you right to the application. Again, if for some reason you're not able to make that early admission deadline, the next deadline will be December 9th. We hope to get any additional questions answered by the enrollment advisors, but other than that, thank you for all of your questions. Thank you, panelists, for all of your insights and your time. And we will see you guys and hear from you and connect with you soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye bye.